This is the Wannabe Saints podcast, where we take virtues and try to break them down so they become tangible and applicable to your life.
We aren't here to bring you advice, we're here to bring you a virtue. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
We're your hosts,
and this is Wannabe Saints.
Jordan is in a special mood tonight, so this should be fun.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah. Normally we are sipping on wine for these, and she is not currently, so
Nope.
she's just in a interesting hyper mood.
Thanks, Jesus.
Honestly, though, by the time people hear this, you won't be fasting anymore, so I think we can tell them. She's
Yeah.
fasting from alcohol, so...
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. I kind of felt this desire to fast from it for, I don't know, maybe like a year or two now for a specific reason. And specific intention, I should say. And I went to adoration the other day and I was like, all right, God, what do I do about this? And he's like, okay, just fast. But does it have to be from alcohol? Because I do love my wine. And it was like, yes. I'm like, okay, for how long for? It's like 30 days. Okay. I guess so. But if you're going to make me do this, you better make it easy on me.
Because I'm a wannabe.
Exactly, because I'm a wannabe. And so far, so good.
Just a weekend, right?
Yep, just a weekend. And now tonight,
But
on
who's
the
counting?
night, exactly. And it's one of those things too where it's kind of like, okay, if you're at a family party, you're doing something like that, like whatever, have a glass of wine if you don't feel like explaining it.
Yeah, and the point of fasting is kind of to not let the people know.
Right. So I'll be over it by the time this gets out there. So
you guys can know.
you guys can know.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, it was kind of like, okay, you can have a glass of wine or whatever if you're at a party, so you don't have to talk about it or explain yourself.
Well, especially because it's a personal reason.
It's very personal. So I was supposed to go boating with my family this weekend, and the plans got canceled because there's going to be 4-foot waves and pouring rain. So that's a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And also just because we're still awkward at recording sometimes, I feel like. It's like, oh, I just wish I had my wine as my security blanket for this. But God's like, here, energy, fun.
You're totally normal.
I am.
Like, you're like the most normal you've
It's
been.
better than I've been.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
good. I like it.
God gives help.
He gives the grace. It always
sure
feels
does.
like cheating in my head when I go to fast and it's
easy.
It's like, wasn't this supposed to be hard and a sacrifice? How come you're so generous to give me grace so it's so easy?
Right.
I don't know. It's just funny.
I mean, I yelled at Jesus to make it easy on me.
I know you did, but no, when I've done I go through waves of doing bread and water or whatever, and there's times where it's so easy. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could do this any day. But isn't the grace in it being hard?
Right.
Yeah, it always just feels weird
It is.
when God helps make it easy.
Yeah,
He's too nice to us.
he is.
Or maybe I'm just that weak that he's like, here, it's a piece of cake today.
Yep. I know I'm that weak. That's why I was like, dude. And if I'm struggling, show me your bloody face in my mind.
And I'm not a good friend, and I am having wine while she's not.
I even made Rachel a margarita with dinner.
That's true. That's very kind of you. You're so generous. So my thing leads into our topic tonight. So our topic is on being charitable, the virtue of charity. And I am currently in a place of, I don't know, challenge, or it's
Challenged to be charitable towards someone in your life.
despite the hurt and disappointment. So everything that we're about to say is really being preached at me because I'm working on having, to be charitable towards someone that I don't want to be charitable to, but I have to. Because
Yeah.
I love this person, but also because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not even acting in the Christian way.
Yeah, it's choosing to be loving even though it's difficult. But what's real love when you're choosing it for the people it's easy for?
And honestly, I think it's harder to love your own family in that way sometimes, or friends, than it is
to love a stranger because you don't know.
Yeah, you're like, oh, am I gonna see him again?
No.
Like, doesn't matter. So, yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, that's my thing that I'm working on, is getting through a little challenging time of just loving no matter what in the way that God wants us to, even though I don't want to. Yeah.
So badly just wanting to act out of spite or
Be passive aggressive or
Yeah.
yeah. This is why we're talking about it. It's like, how do you be charitable to
even when it's difficult.
even when it's difficult, and what does that look like in life? And when we picked this topic, this wasn't even happening, so it's kind of funny.
It is funny.
that this is like lined up with it, but it's real. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to love, especially when you feel hurt or disappointed or frustrated with people. So, I guess we should just start with, what is charity?
What is charity?
Yeah, we're gonna read the Catechism.
Charity is the theological virtue by which we love God above all things for his own sake, and our neighbor as ourselves for the love of God. Do you want to keep reading more through this?
So just a quick side note on what a theological virtue is. There's 3 theological virtues, and they are faith, hope, and charity, and those are given to us at baptism. So they are instilled in us by God. They are a gift from God, but they are the things that we have to still work on. So that's just a side note on what even is a theological virtue. So,
okay, do you want me to just keep reading?
Yeah, just continue.
Okay. Jesus makes charity the new commandment by loving his own to the end. He makes manifest the Father's love, which he receives. By loving one another, the disciples imitate the love of Jesus, which they themselves receive. Whence Jesus says, "As the Father has loved me, so I love you. Abide in my love." And again, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." The fruit of the Spirit and fullness of the law of charity keeps the commandments of God and his Christ. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love. That sounds confusing.
So, I mean, this is why we're breaking it out, though, right?
Yeah.
So, this is where you have to take the time to, like, break down, okay, what does the church say about charity, and how does this apply to our life? Okay, so by loving one another, the disciples imitate the love of Jesus. So his new commandment is charity, and what they keep referring to is love. To love is to be charitable, right? I mean, I'm going to reread the definition real quick.
Yeah.
Charity is the theological virtue by which we love God above all things for his own sake, and our neighbor as ourselves for the love of God. So charity is to love God and to love ourselves and to love our neighbor. Love.
Yes.
Is what charity is.
Yes.
So, now that we're all on the same page here, right?
Perfect.
Keep going.
Okay. So, Christ died out of love for us while we were all still enemies. The Lord asks us to love as he does, even our enemies, to make ourselves the neighbor of those farthest away, and to love children and the poor as Christ himself. If I have not charity, says the apostle, I am nothing. Whatever my privilege, service, or even virtue, if I have not charity, I gain nothing. Charity is superior to all the virtues. It is the first of the theological virtues. So faith, hope, charity, abide these 3, but the greatest of these is charity.
Pause right there. A couple thoughts. Can I see this real quick? Okay. If I have not charity, says the apostle, I am nothing. If I have not charity, I gain nothing. So without charity, we have no other virtue. Even if you're generous out of this place of fear,
Yeah.
or this place of, like, look at me,
It's not true generosity.
it's not true generosity, and it's not true charity. So it's what it's saying is, if I have not charity, I am nothing, right? Your act is nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, this kind of makes me think the homily the other day at Mass. He was talking about, you could also do all these acts, but if you don't have, like, the faith behind it, which is also, like, the love for God, your acts are nothing. So if you don't have the love or the charity, all of your kind acts aren't actually kind acts. If they're selfishness or out of fear or self-gain.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to be using charity interchangeably with love, so love is to will the good, as we know, right? I feel like this is where, before we really get into charity, I want to dive into love for a second, in the way that God creates it as a commandment, and that it's like the greatest thing we can do, right? If it's the greatest thing, what's his example of that? I Believe in Love has a really great reflection that comes to mind on this. I think a thing that people are scared to say that they don't understand is, what does it mean that Jesus died on the cross?
Yeah.
It's, oh, he died for our sins. Yeah, he died for our sins. But what does it mean when they say he conquered death? And I think this is something that people don't understand, and I think this is a key thing to being charitable, because it's Jesus' example of loving others. And to love is to be charitable. To be charitable is to love, right? This is like a key thing to understanding the foundation of charity. Jesus on the cross, when they say he conquered death because death is a result of our sin. So if death is a result of our sin, and God was perfect and he did not sin, he did not have to die. So for him to have died, that's how he conquered death, because he didn't have to. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't treat anyone badly. He didn't talk bad about anyone. He did literally nothing wrong, and he died. To go into the depths of how we are to give to people, even when they hurt us, right? Speaking to myself, is you have to imagine Jesus on the cross. The greatest love ever given was him on the cross. And it's like, how do you love people? It's that. He said, lay your life down for a friend. That is the greatest love. Lay your life down for a friend. Odds are you're probably not going to have to get shot by somebody to lay down your life. Like, I'm not going to probably have to take a bullet for you.
Right.
So how do I lay down my life as a Christian for my friend?
You die to yourself.
I die to myself, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So it's this idea, like, this is being charitable. So to go into like a harsh, hard place, close your eyes for a second. Like, actually, close your eyes.
Eyes closed.
And all you listening, close your eyes and just think of this. All right? Jesus is on the cross, beaten, bruised, bloody. You can see his ribs. He's naked. It's not that cloth that you see on the crucifix. Bleeding from every spot imaginable. Every ounce of blood has poured out from him. Probably unrecognizable. I mean, we can't even imagine how awful he looked. Imagine this Jesus, this gruesome, unrecognizable Jesus on the cross, arms stretched out, and he's looking at you, and you're looking at him. And he says to you, if you have been loved like this, you must love in return. Give love for love. I have loved you. You must love. I have given my heart without reserve in order to have yours without reserve. I have put no limit on my love. You must put no limit on yours. Like, how powerful is that? And how much does that make me think, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at loving?
Well, it's crazy because this is basically what was in my head when he was asking me to fast for this intention. It was like, if I've loved you this much, you can love that much to die to yourself and give this up for 30 days.
Like, what is that? What is
it's
30 days?
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
That was like literally my brain when I was like, God, you need to show me your bloody face anytime I am tempted to fail at my fasting.
Well, and you just picture this Jesus on the cross where we have this like nice image of him when you're at church, you're at mass, right?
It's like
and
this beautiful, clean,
Yeah.
wiped off, still recognizable Jesus.
And in reality, that was not the case. And you just have to sit there and you have to reflect on this love that he gave. And he literally hurt no person. He hurt not a single soul. He did not gossip. He did not slander. He literally did no wrong.
Right.
And that is what he gave for us, to show us the example of love that we should give, to will the good of another. He willed our good to the point of that brutal, gruesome, honestly unimaginable death that he did not have to suffer because he did not sin. And yet we are so bad at loving the people in front of us.
Seriously.
And lay down your life for your friend. Offer it up for your friend. Offer it up for your family member. Love them for love of me. I loved you, and I still love you. He did that knowing how we would screw up.
Yeah.
He did that knowing how I'm still going to screw up. And that is the example of love. And that is the example of charity.
My goosebumps. Literally chills on my spine.
That is where we need to look at this from. It sounds like crazy, but that's the example he gave.
And that's
and
what
it
he
had
told
to
us
be
to do.
Yes, and it had to be so drastic because we are so minimally minded. I'm preaching to myself and I'm laughing at myself, being like,
You idiot.
yeah, like, why do I even care? Why do I even care about what's happened?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? I need to love anyway. It's not about me. It's about them and loving them for the sake of him. Because by loving them, I am loving him. Even he knows my heart. He knows it's hard.
Yeah.
But by loving them, I am loving him. And that is what he called for. That is what he asked. That is what he showed.
Seriously. It's incredible. Obviously, that's impossible to do what he did.
Yeah, he's not even asking us to go there. That's kind of my point too, though. It's like he went to the extremes
so that
to
we can
show
even fathom doing the minimal.
so that we can bear the idea of offering up these little things.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing compared to what he did.
No.
And he could be asking for so much more.
He really could. We're so fortunate that we aren't sitting here with, like, bullets to our head fighting for our faith right now.
It's true.
I'm just giving up alcohol for a little bit.
Yeah, and all he's asking
the
me to
love
do
of
is just...
my person.
Yeah, and all he's asking me to do is be the example of love, no matter what.
Yeah.
To love no matter what.
Whether that person even knows it or not.
Yeah. And in a contradictory point, he's not asking you to love to a point that you are being bulldozed.
Right.
Right? Like, there is true healthy boundary.
There is. I think that there's... In my daily bread, it says here, true, you have to protect yourself against the selfishness and bad will of people on earth. But in doing so, beware of being bitter, inconsiderate, or unjust towards them. For my sake, wish everyone well, and as far as you are able, help those in need. In this way, you will prove that you possess genuine charity in your soul. So, protect yourself within those things, but still always will the good.
Yes.
It's like still be charitable and don't become spiteful out of it.
Yeah. Saying don't, what was it? Don't, or always will their good.
Yeah,
or
always
something.
will their good.
That's saying always love.
Yeah.
That also does require sometimes calling people out, but it's just to say that even though it's hard to choose love and to...
It's kind of like even like the, how many times should I forgive my brother? 7 times? No, 77.
Mm-hmm.
and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And so to forgive is also to be loving.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that comes to my mind is that it's God asks you to forgive. He also doesn't always ask you to what's the word?
Be reconciled.
Be reconcile with them, right? Like you are always called to forgive. But if someone's like hurt you in a way that is, I mean, they shouldn't be in your life, you aren't. He asks you to forgive, but he doesn't ask you to reconcile to the point of having a relationship. He's not saying, now you have to be their friend. But Jesus has to help you to forgive them, and you need to turn to him for forgiveness. But you're not called to reconcile with everyone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And now kind of on like a new note, something that I was reading too. It's another part in the Catechism. How do you grow more in holiness and become more Christ-like? And this part says, all Christians in any state or walk of life are called to the fullness of Christian life and to the perfection of charity. All are called to holiness. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. And then the spiritual progress tend towards me ever more intimate in union with Christ, and this union is called mystical because it participates in the mystery of Christ through the sacraments and the holy mysteries, and in him and in the mystery of the Holy Trinity, God calls us to his intimate union with him, even if the special graces or extraordinary signs of this mystical life are granted only to some for the sake of manifesting gratuitous, I can't say that word, gift given to all. Anyways, so it's just to even become more holy, it is growing perfectly in charity and to become Christ-like, and it is just kind of like this overflow. It's love your neighbor as yourself, but in order to love your neighbor, you need to know that you've been loved.
Just goes back to our identity episode.
Yeah. You need to love the Father, and so that he can love you and let that love pour out through you and overflow into others. Yes, it might be hard to love others, but as long as we love him, his love can also flow through us to those people.
He can perfect our love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true. There's something that triggered my mind on something that Jordan came and talked to my class. It was saying how that you are called to the perfection of charity. And to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect.
Yes.
So when she came to talk to my class, she shared on this whole idea of just being human.
And so it's like when you use that excuse of, oh, I was just being human, it is kind of like a false excuse.
Yeah, it's honestly just a crap excuse.
A crap excuse because, which is why I actually referenced that in our last episode, because you were like, oh, I'm just human. I was like, no, you're a wannabe.
Yeah, she did do that.
No, but it is this false expression because God initially made us perfect in his image and likeness, and we failed.
And so to sin is not of God, obviously.
Right.
So when we sin, like it's capable to not sin. Like, I mean, we are capable. I said that weird. We are capable of not sinning. I cannot lie. I cannot swear. I cannot be angry or act out of anger, right? A lot of sinning is controlling your emotions and your reaction.
Just having like custody over yourself.
Yes. And
custody over the will.
Yeah. So to say, oh, I'm just being human is a crap excuse, because to be human,
we are called to be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In his image and likeness.
Yeah. Okay, so what does that look like then? Like, now we understand charity means essentially to love, and we are called to love. And when people hear be charitable, they're thinking, oh, I'm going to go to the soup kitchen. I'm going to give money to the homeless guy on the street. All great things, but it's deeper than that.
It is. I mean, it can be simple or deep. It could be, for example, myself the other day. I was taking a walk and my dog pooped kind of in an area that's not. It's kind of obvious, but like kind of not.
So you could have left it?
And I could have left it, and I was like, for the love of whoever might step in it, I will pick it up.
That's actually a really good one. Like, it's so simple, and I was laughing at you because I was like, where is this going?
It is so simple, but it's like for whoever like else is walking there, and then it's just somebody might step in it, and that would just really suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be very poopy. Quite literally. Or it's like Mother Teresa's quote: "Wash the plate not because it needs to be washed or because of whatever, but do it out of the love for the person who needs it next."
Yeah.
It's don't just wash the plate just because it's dirty or it needs to be washed, or it's nice to have a clean house, but it's for whoever needs to use it next. Mm-hmm. It is those small things of like, okay, my husband always gets annoyed that I leave spoons out, or I put my dirty spoon right on the counter. So I've really been working my whole marriage to not put my dirty spoons all over the counter, or to leave my coffee mug on the ledge by my stairs, because out of love for him, I need to just put it away so he's not annoyed looking at it or angry.
Yeah.
It's making things easier on that person. And even if it is those simple moments of, he doesn't know how many times I used the toothpaste and my hairbrush and hair products, but putting everything away so that it looks like it's been untouched out of love for him, even though he doesn't know the amount of times I took it out and put it away, but making sure that it was put away.
Or that you're like, I'm going to use this again in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. But putting it away out of love for him is ultimately a charitable act. Mm-hmm. Because it's to prevent him from being angered.
Yeah, and you're being polite.
Yeah.
You're creating an environment that is pleasant for him. Yeah. And that's also part of being charitable. Yeah. Right?
But those are just silly little things.
Yeah,
acts
but
of
no,
charity.
but those are so
they become
tangible.
Big though.
Yeah, and if you practice, like, okay, that's the thing though, is you have to
practice
all
the little
virtue
ones.
Requires, the little moments to even make it in the big moments. You have to practice all the small things, because that's what gets you to the big things. Yeah. Or gets you through the big things. Right. Or to even be able to choose it. Because if you only wait for big moments to practice a skill, because that's essentially what it is, right? It's a habit. You have to practice it in all the little things.
Right. You're not just going to go run a marathon without training.
No.
You're going to practice and train and build the strength and endurance and ultimately do whatever it takes to get through the big things. Or the big thing just won't seem as big when it comes up because all of the little things have been covered. Yeah.
And truly, I would say that's mostly what God loves to give, is little moments. Yeah. Show me you love me in the little moments, in the little irritations.
It's like St. Therese, the little flower. It's like
the little way.
The little way. It was, there's something else in the book that I believe in love. Some of, like, her sisters wouldn't have even mentioned a thing about her, but it was within her writings that they realized how, like, deep her heart was and what her faith actually entailed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was through all of that they realized what a saint she was, because she was just this sensitive, quiet little girl.
Yeah. She never had these, like, big moments or trials for them to see her
have to overcome.
Yeah, and it was just those constant little ways that she died to herself for the love of them, for the love of the people she was around.
The clicking of, wasn't there, like,
the pen?
The pen?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's so aggravating, but it's like, okay, I am growing to love this thing that bothers me. Yeah. Out of love for the person. And out of love for Christ. So, like, offering up that little annoyance.
Yeah, it's true. We just waited for a train to go by to continue this. So now that the train is basically gone, still giving examples, but kind of shifting
gears here.
But not really, because I still just want to keep going on, like, examples and how this looks in life on being charitable. And I was reading another great book that everyone should read, Spiritual Survival in the Modern World by Dr. Andrew Swafford. He takes the screw tape letters and he breaks them down in a beautiful way. And it's probably my second favorite book after I Believe in Love for spiritual reading. Anyway, he goes in and he breaks down like being charitable, and he says the greatest act of charity that you can do for someone is to listen and to truly enter into their world and listen, which means you're not even thinking of your response to what they're saying. You are genuinely just taking in what they are saying. And I think that is actually the most rare thing to find. Because distractions are absolutely everywhere at this point. I mean, you have a phone in your pocket or in your hand all the time. Or if you have a smartwatch and in the moment it buzzes, you're distracted. You're just constantly in a place of distraction these days. And for any parents that are listening, I asked my students in class, how much does it suck when you come home from school and your parent is just like scrolling on their phone and you come home and you walk in the door and you're like, Mom, or Dad, listen. Or even a sibling. And you're so excited to tell them something about your day. And they're just like, and scrolling on their phone. Or they're like, oh, 1 minute. And they just keep saying 1 minute, but then they don't really listen or they don't really respond. And they're like, yeah. And the amount of my students that got emotional or just fired up or like, oh, that happens all the time. They do that to me literally like every day. And they're just so upset and fired up about it was honestly heartbreaking, because I'm at a private school where a lot of these parents are kind of anti-technology, at least to an extent.
Yeah.
Or social media or whatever. And so these kids aren't even like the kids that are at like a public school where they have just complete access to everything, or that they just get to go home and have all the screen time in the world. Like, these are families who tend to be in a place of kind of limiting that, or they are not getting phones till high school, which I know is a rare thing for the average person of today. And this is their reaction. Their reaction is, the phone is more important than me. They don't care to listen to me. And the hurt that I just saw on their faces broke my heart. And it just spoke to what he was saying in the book of true charity is being able to just sit there and listen. Enter into their world. Put your phone away. Be present to who's in front of you. Love who is in front of you. Like, how good does it feel when someone just actually listens to your heart?
Yeah. It's rare.
It's rare, but it's like one of the greatest feelings.
It is the best.
It feels so good to be seen, to be known. Like, intimacy is into me, see in me. And our poor children of today, and honestly all of us, don't even know what it's like to not have a phone distracting somebody.
I know. Even I struggle myself with like, oh, I need to do this and that, and then my baby's sitting there at my knees and I'm like, okay, just put it away. None of this is important. Yeah, sure, it's important to go pay a bill, but like, don't do it in the middle of your baby trying to play with you or your children trying to listen to you.
Yeah.
It's when it's not the important thing, especially, put it away.
Yeah, and okay.
Designate time.
You know they're coming home and they want to talk to you. Put the phone away. For an hour, just give time to your kids. What's an hour? What is an hour? What is God's love on the cross? Like, what's an hour?
Right.
And then it's, okay, bedtime. A lot of teenagers open up at bedtime. Okay, yeah, you had a really busy day and you're exhausted and you don't want to listen, but that's their moment. Put it away. Listen. Know that that is the time to just give. And when you have something that you have to do, you say to your kid, I'm so sorry, I'll listen in 1 second. I just need to get back to blah, 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 blah right now.
And then actually follow through with finishing it, putting it away, and going back.
There was
to your
a time,
child or to your person.
Yes.
whoever you're talking to.
And there was a time that the world functioned just fine without being in contact with each other all the time.
Yeah.
The time that you spent on your phone, like social media alone, oh my gosh, what was the stat? So looking up how much screen time your average teenager spends on their phone a day is 8.5 hours.
That's disgusting.
8.5 hours on a screen per day. The amount of things and hobbies and talents and skills you could be learning in 8.5 hours, that's taking your whole workday as an adult and just wasting time on your phone, which I'm sure some people do.
That's disgusting.
And then you take that and you times that by like days and years and whatever. It's despicable. I mean, turn on your screen phone time and see how much time you waste.
Yeah.
It's truly, even if you think that you're not bad with it, you're probably still bad with it.
Even us as kids didn't have that from our parents.
No, we didn't. And these poor kids.
I couldn't even imagine what it was like, the attention that kids would have had before any technology or TV or internet of any sort. The quality time and less distractions that they would have had. Even like if I'm sitting there reading when my baby is playing, I feel like that's even not as bad of a distraction as like
no,
a
it's
phone.
not. You are capable of putting it down, still being present.
Exactly.
Or
you can read out loud, and that's good for their brain.
Or it creates a conversation still.
Yeah.
Like, whereas social media these days...
But yes.
The social media these days tends to just...
it pulls you in. You don't even realize what's going on around you when you're looking at your phone or at a TV or anything.
Yeah. Whereas the book... Even if you are doing it around your child, you're also gaining knowledge, right?
Right.
Like, it is very different.
And it's also teaching them the importance of, like, reading and nourishing their brain. Yeah. And whatever.
Well, because technology and social media doesn't cause you to have an imagination where reading does, because you have to picture what's
being said.
Mm-hmm. So there's that aspect, too. When my nieces and nephews complain that they don't have a phone... they probably hate me for it, but I'm always telling them, actually, you should be grateful, because if your mom gave you a phone or the iPad or the computer, you wouldn't know you're good at art. You wouldn't know you're a good painter. You wouldn't know you're a good fisherman. You wouldn't know you're good at, I don't even know, whatever they're good at.
Yeah.
Because they would just be sitting on their phone.
Right.
And now they know that they're good at art, they're good at sewing, they're good at fishing, they're good at fixing things. So get rid of the phone.
Yeah.
I would say that I would want to argue that that's probably the greatest thing you could do to love your family better.
Is get rid of the phone.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I mean, I get impatient because of my phone, right? It's
absolutely.
I don't want to listen to you right now.
I get annoyed even though I'm on my phone, like very guilty that I'm on my phone, but it's like once I finally sit down with Kyle, it's like, okay, why are you still on your phone? I'm finally sitting here now. I'm done doing my things. I'm done cleaning. I'm done putting Orlin to sleep. Like, get off the phone now. But I'm guilty. I'm equally as guilty. He does the same. He'll go do something and sit down and I'm still on my phone. Or if I see him pull out his phone because he's checking something for work, I'm like, okay, well, I'll pull out my phone too until you're done. But then it's kind of like, okay, but now you pulled out your phone. I was about to be done. Now you're on your phone.
And then you're not connecting.
And then we're not connecting. There's so many times where we just look at each other like, okay, how about we hang out with each other now? Like, I'll sit down and I'll be on my phone. He's like, how about you just hang out with me instead of being on your phone? I'm like, good idea.
Hang up and hang out.
Yeah. Or it's like, can we just turn off the TV and just like actually be with each other for a little bit?
Yeah.
Even if you're watching a movie together, it's different than just, it's not actually being together.
Yeah. When I was
movie night is fun here and there, but
yeah.
There was a family party that I took all my nephews' phones away because they were all sitting in a circle just on their phones.
No way.
Literally took their phones and put it in the drawer, and then me and my sisters were trying to play like musical charades with them or something like that.
That's amazing. No, I love that. That's what they need.
Yeah.
I mean, with my youth group students, they'd be like, "Why are you making eye contact with me?" Because that's normal human interaction.
Yeah.
Is eye contact.
It's funny how uncomfortable it makes people.
Mm-hmm. It's just so lost.
Are you uncomfortable?
Yes, I am when you stare at me that way. No, I'm just kidding. No, but leave your phone in the car and go into Starbucks to get your coffee without your phone. Go.
Look the cashier in the eye at the grocery store.
That's also being charitable, though, right?
It is.
You're loving
It's
the person in
noticing the
front of you.
person.
The amount that people are impacted when you go
Look them in the eye.
they're checking out at the store instead of going to self-checkout, and you're just like, how are you doing? How's your day going? How much longer's on your shift? And they're just like, you're asking genuine questions about me?
Right.
I have this sweatshirt that says, you are loved. And some people love to tease me, and they'll just like read it back to me like, oh, you're loved. And I'm like, yeah, you are loved. But then I wear it in public, and I always joke that I have to wear it when I'm in a good mood. Because if I say that if I'm wearing this sweatshirt that says you are loved, and I'm like
Being a jerk.
resting jerk face, and and I'm wearing this, they're like, yeah, okay, you're not a loving person. But there's the times that I intentionally wear it. It's actually crazy the comments that I get from people. Where one, it kind of forces me to be extra charitable and kind and loving and see how people are doing. But a couple times, I mean, one of the more significant ones is I was at a gas station. I'm checking out, and the guy is just like tearing up. And he's like, thank you. And I'm like, oh, what? And he's like, your shirt. Like, thank you.
Aww.
And I'm like, it's so simple. It just says you are loved. But it's the intentionality plus the message. It actually impacts people.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how people respond to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it to the point that I'm like, all right, I'm in a bad mood today. I'm not wearing this. I wonder if I should wear it on the day that I'm in a bad mood, so it forces me to shift my mind. I should probably try that.
Should.
I probably should.
You remember the one time I wore it to go shopping with you, and you're like, you better be nice today.
I did say that. No, next time I wear it, though, you're going to be like, are you in a bad mood? Maybe. I was. Nah, don't test me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to read out of I Believe in Love, or no?
No, I would say, if anything, like, kind of wrap it up.
Okay, so to wrap up our conversation, it's examination time. I would like to think of this as, what's the kind of person you want to be remembered as? Or do you want to be remembered as the impatient, short, like snippy person, angry person? Or the loving, kind, peaceful, joyful person? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what everybody would want to choose. And charity encompasses all these things. It's just something to consider. Where do you struggle? Self-reflection. Where's your flaw? We all have it. But some vices against charity is hatred of God, obviously, because to be charitable is love of God, to love God. Envy. Are you wishing somebody didn't have something because you want it so bad? Gossip. I mean, if you're gossiping about someone, it's the complete opposite of charitable.
Literally.
A victim mentality. Are you sitting there playing a victim card all the time? Because I could be sitting here playing the victim card, which honestly I probably have been, but in reality it's the person is acting the way that they're acting because they've been hurt, and I can see that, and I can either sit here and keep being frustrated and angry or upset or hurt, or I can choose to love them through that and not play that mentality. And then greed. Are you... I mean, it kind of goes with envy. But to be greedy is... like, you can use the example of giving to the homeless. Do you have money that you can give and you don't give anything? Do you even tithe to the church? Do you... money's like an easy example, but what ways are you greedy towards people? Do you have time to give and you're just selfish with it? Are you greedy with your phone and you give more time to your phone than your own children? Do you truly listen? And do you form unjust opinions of others? Do you allow your desires and wants to control how you interact with people? Are you more polite and considerate to people outside your home or people you never expect to meet again? Or to those who are members of your own family or that you're in friendship with?
Then do you act out of spitefulness or anger? Obviously, feelings and emotions are natural, but it is controlling the emotion and responding to it rather than just like acting out of your first reaction. And then do you seek to find the goodness in others, or do you seek to find the faults or failures? Do you have sloth or laziness? And for example, like for myself, leaving out those dirty spoons, even if I realized I left it there, or intentionally just leaving the mess, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's the true test.
Yeah.
Of charity. So how you control your emotions and reactions towards others, especially those you struggle with, but anybody, is your true test of charity. It's not just giving to the poor or going to the soup kitchen. Like, true charity is loving the person right in front of you.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, well, that sums up our episode on charity. Any final thoughts? We gotta come up with a better way to end these things.
We sure do.
Because I don't know how to wrap that up.
Same.
Thanks for listening to the Wannabe Saints podcast.
If you have a question or topic you would like us to cover, reach out to us at wannabesaintspodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram at wannabe_saints.
You can find these links in our show notes. Thanks for listening, and God bless.